Welcome to today's Explainer. I am so excited to share this incredible story with you today, mainly because it's going to profoundly change how we look at what we have and, more importantly, what we give. I want you to immediately picture the scene with me, okay? We're in a small, absolutely stunning Berber village, totally surrounded by the rich, golden colors of autumn. But there's a real tension in the air. A harsh, unforgiving winter is looming just over the mountain ridges. Today, we're going to break down the fascinating journey of three remarkable kids, Solois, Abdel Jalil, and little Muhammad. And through their actions, we are going to unpack what is essentially a masterclass in empathy and community. Okay, let's dive right into this, because before we get into the nitty-gritty of their journey, I want you to keep this big philosophical question right at the forefront of your mind. Where does true wealth really live? Seriously, is it just the physical stuff we possess? Is it what we've hoarded away in our pantries or sitting in our bank accounts? Or is there another, much more immaterial dimension to wealth that we just kind of overlook in our busy lives? Keep your eyes on this question as we follow these three kids, because their answer is about to unfold right in front of us.
Section 1. The Call to Action.
Section 2. Planning with Dignity.
Now, every great story needs a catalyst, right? Well, ours starts with a profound teaching regarding charity and neighborly love. But for these kids, this wasn't just some beautiful quote to hang on a wall. It was an unavoidable, immediate call to action. They discover this heartbreaking reality right next door. Their neighbor, widow Fatma, has absolutely nothing left. Her jars are completely empty, and she's got 3 little ones to feed. So gathering urgently under the sprawling branches of a large farm walnut tree, the siblings know time is of the essence. The wise old village miller had actually already sounded the alarm about the brutal winter clouds gathering behind the peaks. They aren't just observing poverty anymore, they need a concrete plan. But how they approached it, that depended entirely on their ages. We have the 11-year-old older sister, Salas. She's the brains of the operation. Her approach is profound. Yes, they absolutely must help, but they have to protect Fatma's dignity and avoid causing her any shame. Then you have her 9-year-old brother, Abdel Jalil. He is all brute force and urgency. He basically just wants to charge forward, head down, and fix the problem right this second. And we can't forget the youngest, 8-year-old Muhammad, whose pure innocence makes him want to instantly sacrifice his absolute most prized possession, his wooden spinning top.
Solois, being the wise leader she is, imposes a golden rule. The dignity of the receiver must always come before the pride of the giver. So they execute this brilliantly ingenious, completely secret collection plan. Step 1. Instead of begging, which, let's face it, would make everyone uncomfortable, they go door to door offering to do heavy chores. We're talking fetching water, carrying wood. Step 2. In exchange for their hard labor, they casually accept compensation. Neighbors slip wheat, dates, and blankets into their large basket. Step 3. By disguising their charity as a simple, everyday exchange of services, nobody is humiliated. The honor of the entire community is perfectly protected. Honestly, it's a strategic masterpiece of empathy.
Section 3. The Unexpected Detour.
As with any great plan, the universe loves to throw a curveball. While dragging their incredibly heavy basket through the falling night toward Fatima's house, their journey comes to a dead halt. Leaning against a rock in the fading light, they find an old shepherd who has severely twisted his ankle. So now they're faced with a massive dilemma. Do they deliver the life-saving food to Fatima first, or do they stop and help this man right now? Faced with the shepherd's pain, Soloia's reaction is immediate and absolute. She says, a good deed doesn't wait for another to finish. She doesn't even hesitate. Right there in the dusk, she sacrifices her own scarf, literally tearing it, to create a bandage for the old man's ankle. And while the older siblings rush off to find proper medical help, little 8-year-old Muhammad stays behind in the pitch black. He just sits by the injured man's side, comforting him by telling him stories.
Section 4. Delivering the Real Gift.
The tension peaks as we reach the emotional climax of our explainer. It's the dead of night. Everything is dead silent. The children finally arrive at Fatima's house and knock. Fatima opens the door, initially terrified to see these neighborhood kids out so late in the freezing dark. But that worry instantly turns to shock when she looks down. Sitting right there at her doorstep is a massive basket filled with essentials: wheat, dates, and thick winter blankets. You guys, these aren't just items. This is literal survival. The children gathered the exact physical inventory her family desperately needed to make it through the freezing months ahead. But the physical contents of that basket, that was only part of the story.
When Fatima looks up from the basket, she really looks at the children. She notices their scraped, bleeding hands. She sees their clothes, heavily soiled from scrambling off the path to save the shepherd. She hears little Muhammad mention the injured man with this absolute, disarming humility. And in that powerful flash, Fatima understands everything. She realizes that the food and blankets, they're entirely secondary. The real gift, the true miracle here, is the profound love, sacrifice, and physical devotion just radiating from these children.
Section 5. The Miller's River Lesson.
But the story doesn't end in the dark. The next morning, the village wakes up, and word of the children saving the shepherd reaches the wise old miller. He gathers Saloy, Abdul-Jalil, and Muhammad into his orchard. Now, he doesn't give them a grand trophy. Instead, he simply hands each of them some almonds. But wait, these almonds aren't just a tasty reward. They are a symbol designed to teach them a final vital lesson about what they accomplished the night before. Before this, the kids kind of thought of charity as a straight, rigid line. You get the wheat, you walk to the house, you drop it off. That's stagnant generosity. It's just a task on a checklist. But the miller explained that true charity is river generosity, like a river of living water. It never stops, it never stagnates. It is completely fluid. It circulates from hand to hand, and it constantly redirects itself to whoever needs it most in that exact moment, just like they did for the shepherd. Generosity isn't a fixed itinerary, it's a constant state of being.
Section 6. Filling the Inner Granary.
Lying on the flat roof of their home later that same night, looking up at the stars, you can tell the journey has fundamentally transformed them. Young Abdel-Jalil looks at his hands and finally gets it. The true purpose of his boundless physical strength isn't just to push forward, it's to have the power to stop and lift someone else up. But it's Solois who puts the entire experience into perspective with a powerful epiphany that really defines our entire explainer today. She realizes that, materially speaking, the physical granary of their own house didn't gain a single extra grain of wheat that day. Technically, they're no richer. And yet, she feels an overwhelming sense of abundance. Their inner granaries are absolutely overflowing with joy, filled entirely by the things they chose to give away. Just like little Muhammad, who falls asleep with a radiant smile, completely thrilled that he was finally able to offer up his precious wooden top. They discovered that by emptying their hands, they filled their hearts.
Which brings us right back to you, the learner. We've seen that true wealth isn't about the sheer quantity of what you possess. It's about the fluid, adapting river of what you're willing to share. Cultivating a sharing spirit is literally the only wealth that never, ever depletes. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up today's explainer. If generosity is an endless river, what grains will you choose to store in your heart's granary today? Thank you so much for diving into this incredible story with me, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.